What's up, everybody? Marla Cross 316 back on another comic book flashback. And today, folks, we are looking at Ultimate Spider-Man issue number 67. And today's title is Jump the Shark. And we're going to be looking at the last part of this series here, where we saw last issue where Wolverine and Spider-Man switched bodies. I think that at this point in time, Brian Michael Bendis was receiving a lot of hate mail about this storyline. They didn't really see the purpose in it, and I, for one, don't really see the purpose in it either, unless it's just for comedic reasons. And so we pick up here on this issue, we see Brian Michael Bendis choking Nick Lowe, the assistant editor, and he's like, "Now go fix my spelling." He said, "This is the last part of this story, I promise. I mean, even if I couldn't milk 3 issues out of this." And so this issue is brought to you by Brian Michael Bendis, who wrote this story, Mark Bagley on the penciling, and Scott Hanna on the inking. And today's title is Jump the Shark, like I said. So last issue we saw that a car fell right on the body of Wolverine. Now remember, Wolverine and Spider-Man have switched bodies, and so the mind of Peter Parker is in the body of Wolverine. And so the cops have arrived on the scene, and they're telling Wolverine here to get up, and they keep calling him a mutie because in the Ultimate Universe, just like in the other universe, mutants are not looked on as good people. They're looked upon as freaks. And so what we see is that Wolverine is going to get up, as you know, this is actually Peter Parker, and everybody in class are still looking outside the window. We see that Peter Parker, who is Wolverine's mind in the body of Peter Parker, is like, oh gosh, what is he doing? And so the teacher's like, "Flash Thompson, if you ever plan on seeing a football field again, I would sit yourself down and keep your mouth shut." And Flash says, "So, you're saying you want me to sit down?" And then the teacher's like, "You can smart mouth me all you want, kiddo. I've had it from the best." He said, "Is that guy from the X-Men?" And so finally, we see that Wolverine, as Peter Parker, gets up, runs out of the classroom, and is going to try to put a stop to what's going on here. And we see that Peter, as Wolverine, has no control over his claws. He doesn't know how to use Wolverine's body, and the claws keep popping in and out. And they keep telling him to drop those claws, mutant. But he's like, "I don't know how." And they're like, "Drop the weapons." He said, Here, you can do it. I don't know how." He said, "On your knees." And then he said, "Sorry, guys, I have some other stuff to do today." He starts running. They tase him. And so down goes Peter as Wolverine. And he's like, "Oh." And then we see here that Wolverine as Peter Parker comes, and he's trying to basically say, "Hey, don't hurt him." And we see Peter's like, "Help me." Wolverine's like, "Just give me a second to get out of there. What are you doing?" He said, "Kid, you're getting in the way. But put on the costume." He said, "Get out of there." And so we see Wolverine's trying to tell Peter to get out of the car, the police car, but Peter Parker is not a violent person. He's not going to go against authority. So we see that the body of Wolverine as Peter is in jail here. He gets one phone call, and as Peter as Wolverine is going to then call Xavier School for gifted youngsters here. He's going to call the X-Men. You see Kitty Pryde is going to answer the phone. Remember, Peter as Spider-Man basically met the X-Men back in the day, so he knows the X-Men. So Kitty Pryde answers the phone, and she realizes that this must actually be the real Spider-Man trapped in Wolverine's body. And she's laughing at this, and she just can't believe what's going on. And she's like, "Man, this is like that movie." And Storm's like, "Which one?" And she's like one of the 10, I don't know. And then all of a sudden, Wolverine's claws pop back out, and it cuts the phone. They tase him once again. So now the X-Men are alerted. We see Wolverine as Peter Parker is going to put on at least the mask and the web shooters. He doesn't want to put on the full costume. And so we see Wolverine is going to actually try to swing around the city. Maybe that will be faster, and of course it will be faster. He learns that Spider-Man can crawl walls, and he shoots a web strand, attaches to the chimney of this building here, and he's going to swing, and he plummets right into the building. Smack dab right in the building. He's going to try one more time, and he's just not getting nowhere. And so you see, Wolverine is still, as Peter Parker, sitting in the jail. All of a sudden, he hears a boom, thump, whump, smash. These police are being tackled by Spider-Man here. And Spider-Man's fighting like Wolverine. And he takes care of these cops. He tells Peter, as Spider-Man, Spider-Man as Wolverine, rather, to get out of jail, to slice the jail cell here so he can get out, or at least pick the lock. And so that's what we see that Peter as Wolverine's going to do. And so finally we see that as they're talking to each other and they're fussing at each other and everything else, and this is very comedic stuff. And he's like, Smelly, you want to talk about smelly? You need to do a full body shampoo, man. You need to wash everywhere. He said, kid, I have about as much as I'm going to take from you and your lip. I need this to be over, and I need it now. And while they're fussing, we see that there's a cry for help and a boom, and then Spider-Man as Wolverine is going to jump the building here and go to try to help. We see that Shocker is on the loose here, and this universe of Shocker, the Ultimate version, is just very amateurish. He is nothing like the regular universe as you've seen in other issues. So we see Spider-Man and Wolverine take, just easy work out of this guy. Just one smash, one hit to the face, and he's down for the count. All of a sudden, the X-Men show up, and we see that Jean Grey was actually the one responsible for putting Spider-Man and Wolverine and switching their minds, because Wolverine was hitting on Jean Grey. We know that Jean Grey is actually with Scott Summers, Cyclops. And so she's going to put their minds back into their own bodies here. This was just to give and treat Wolverine as a lesson here. We see that finally Peter Parker has control of his own body. He cusses out the X-Men, and he's going to then leap off. And we see that Cyclops says, so, Logan, how was high school? He smirks. Finally, we see MJ is smirking about something. Peter Parker comes. He says, you know what? You're really a big jerk today. He said, I know, I'm sorry. If I could find the English words to describe to you how crazy this day was, I would. You know me, that wasn't me. I wasn't myself. I'm sorry, okay? And they hug, and then she says, can I ask you something? He said, sure. She says, that thing you tried to do this morning, can we not do that till we're older? So I wonder what that was. But anyway, that's how we end this issue. So who knows what is coming up next in issue number 68. But you know what? This is not a bad story as people thought it was, but it's pretty comedic. But now we're going to focus more on the life of Spider-Man. Is Peter Parker going to suit up as Spider-Man, or is he still not going to suit up as Spider-Man because of the death of Gwen? We're going to find all this out coming up next in issue number 68. I hope to see you there. But before then, go ahead now and give this video a like. Comment down below what you liked about this issue. Subscribe if you have not. And I will see y'all in the next one.